Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas is in New York tonight, where the UN General Assembly is voting tomorrow on whether to grant Palestine non-member observer state status. What would that mean? The Post's Colum Lynch is at the UN and joins us now by Skype. Colum, this to no extent solves the Israel-Palestine issue. It doesn't even make Palestine a full member of the UN. So what would this do?
Well, essentially what it would do is, as you say, it doesn't make them a member, but it gives them this status of an observer state. And that's important. I mean, in some sense, people talk about how it sort of is the same status that the Vatican has, but there are certain things that the Palestinians can do that they can't do now. And the most important is this would really pave the way for them to gain entry into the International Criminal Court as a state party. They don't require that state parties be UN members, only that they be states. So this would likely clear the path. There might be some, sort of legal wrangling that they have to go through, but sort of experts on this seem to agree that they have a pathway to that.
Well, and that's important. It also raises concerns because it would allow them to try Israel or certain Israeli actors as war criminals, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the Palestinians since 2009 have been trying to convince the International Criminal Court's prosecutor to investigate potential crimes during the 2008-2009 Israeli intervention in Gaza and the Gaza Strip. The prosecutor at the time, Luis Moreno Ocampo, who since left, he basically sat on it for a couple of years, didn't make a decision, and finally, before he left, he said, "I don't have the authority to determine whether the Palestinians are a state." So basically, he just kicked the issue down the court. And so what's going to happen now is that the Palestinians can either just go back and resubmit their request as they did before, or they can join the ICC, and then they can start, trying to convince a prosecutor, to try and take up what they see as war crimes in the future. And what's unclear at this point is whether they'll be able to go after cases retroactively.
We expect this to pass easily. The resolution has 60 co-sponsors. France, for one, has said they're going to vote in the affirmative. But the U.S. opposes it. Why?
The U.S. opposes it for the reason it opposes most sort of initiatives in the United Nations. They think that any workable solution needs to be hammered out between the Israelis and the Palestinians. They think this is sort of going around the kind of negotiating framework. The Palestinians say this process hasn't achieved anything. There isn't a meaningful peace process. The Israelis have used all this time to expand their control and expansion of settlements in Palestinian territories, and that they have always had a right to declare themselves a state, and that they're going to go ahead and do it now.
Even some factions that are perceived as being less pro-Israeli, though, do seem to think that this potentially could be a dead end or a false start. What's the argument for that?
Yeah, I mean, the concern is that you have the Obama administration coming into its second term. It doesn't have a team together that's sort of worked out a kind of new, fresh strategy for the Middle East. The president, Obama, has been leaning on Abbas, trying to get him to sort of wait, to delay, to give him time to sort of, develop an approach to the issues. A number of the Europeans have been trying to dissuade the Palestinians from going ahead, saying it would damage their relations with the Americans. And at the end of the day, it wouldn't deliver any meaningful change on the ground, and that this would lead to sort of frustration among the population, could have a destabilizing impact.
Okay, Colum Lynch at the UN, thanks for joining us tonight.
All right, thanks for having me.